important. That coordinating minister for the economy is like a GM. Okay, I mean, it's like your hand, your nose, with pies elsewhere. In fact, the ministries that you mentioned, I would like to kindly and politely add the Ministry of, I'm talking of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Lateef. Himself, well-honed, the Minister of the Economy, also well-honed, looking at the legal implications of some of the Achilles heel that we already have, should make sure that legally speaking, this federal government obeys the rule of law and the rule of justice. You ask me, I asked feebly, and it looked like a very funny question at that time to Mr. Kunjo at the boardroom. And I said, Madam, I mean, if these things are going on now, why are you still here? And I hope she'll see this, and she shook her head. Not long after that, she wrote a book. She nearly lost her life. So many other things cropped up. Mr. President and Chief Samurai must recognize the interlinkage between the Attorney General, Minister for Justice, hopefully will be strong enough to now then say some of the things that we'll be talking about, we need to separate them, that's by the way, to now look at all the other sectors. Wale Edun must be respected more for his intellect and the fact that everybody will want to come to him, whether it's digital economy, whether it's intensifying, whether it's labor, whether it's education, all the enabling rules and laws for us to be able to get the trust back out there. They are very, very important. I think Wale Edun, from his antecedents, based on perception and perhaps a little bit on my own little knowledge about his antecedents, is not just an A1 and a first-class practitioner. He's there. Now, let's look at health. Professor Pate. And Wale, I don't know which university you went to, but I went to ABU.
I went to Lagos State University.
Okay, so this is time to now wave the flag of Ahmadu Bello University.
Right.
In 1990, when he did his MBBS, and the fact that not long after that, part of the things that he looked at as a CEO was primary health care. I am reminded of Professor Olikoye Ransom Kuti of blessed memory. I expect Professor Pate, who haven't left Gavi, at now coming to decide that he was going to work for government from the patriotic aspect of it, somebody like that must be not only respected, must be listened to. Look at all the shenanigans and all the cobwebs we have around the health management system, and there's so many, time will not permit people to go into it. Those are the kind of people, when they prepare their memo, it should not be me and Adewale competing to please the boss and stuff like that. We can cooperate. And this is what I'm looking at. Oh, you have not looked at some other legal implications. Can you delay this a little bit and stuff like that? So that by the time you now get onto the presenting your papers at the council meeting, is going to be not only robust. I'll be speaking at a pitch to which the legal officer will be supporting me, to which Festus Keyamo, who I think is also a lawyer, will be looking at some legal shenanigans in an aviation which has not been a top notch. We are all going to be looking at that from the perspective. Final point I want to say here. For any of these ministers that we know, they are not necessarily there because of what they want to eat, more of patriotism, more of the hope agenda. I have an advice. Please do not be afraid. Do not be afraid when you see the truth. Say the truth to this power, to Mr. President. He may shake his head, he may, whatever it is, but he's going to go back into the recess of it. I've always said this before, and said, yeah, this is not a yes man, including the fact that, Mr. President, if you don't do it this way, if you we're going to go do it that way, has my letter of resignation. That is very, very important. It takes things like that very, very seriously. But we have a management system whereby KPIs have been developed. Yeah. Job studies and job descriptions have been taken. And I use the word, I use the term 6 months, that every 6 months, each of these ministers should not necessarily be accountable, should be accountable to the commander-in-chief, absolutely no doubt about that, should also be accountable to us. Liaison also with their state governors taking care of the politics and legislators, both at the national and at the state level. If this is what I see President Bola Tinubu meaning when, after 2 days, 3 days, he made a profound statement to his army chiefs and security chiefs. I want inter-agency cooperation, and that should go for all of them, because the strength of the chain is with the weakest. There will naturally be the weakest in there. It behoves on this board of ministers to look at it, see what is happening elsewhere, give good advice so that we can put Nigeria in the right trajectory.
Putting Nigeria in the right trajectory, that's what Nigerians are also talking about. Let's look at the matter of security now and defense. I wonder what your key performance index will be for him. Nigerians are saying that there's been several conversations with regards to he handling that portfolio, talking about Bello Matawalle, who's a former governor, and that perhaps his experience will also come to play with regards to this. But what do you see him doing, putting it side by side the renewed hope agenda?
What I see him doing is he bringing the people closer to the various security structures that we have in a non-kinetic way. No matter how you try to use brutal force or strong force in order to achieve a very secure environment, if you don't bring the people in terms of gathering information, making the area very permissible, it won't work. And while he was governor, he has never been known for any controversy that I know of in that area of security and all whatnot. And with his age and his experience, these are things that will work in that area. But you should not also forget that you also have a very good square peg in a square hole in the person of Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, looking at his performance as the EFCC boss and all whatnot. And he's very civil in his approach. So you having him as the NSA, now working with the Minister for Security and all whatnot, and you have very good elements within the security formation, and the CNC is there. So you're going to have Heges working very strongly to get the people involved in securing our space. And those professionals will also do the needful. But you must also look at the foreign approach, because most of these arms and ammunition, we don't produce it here. And the president has assured us that a lot of it will be produced here. Good enough, we have some armor companies that are domiciled in Nigeria that are doing very well, like the one in Ogun State and all whatnot. And we also need to recruit more people into our security architecture to increase the number for them to watch all of these areas very closely and carry out whatever assignment that they're given to them. But the foreign approach is that we also need to redefine our foreign relationship with many of these countries that controls the security infrastructure, especially when it comes to aviation. And all of that, those fighter jets, we need more. We need more attack helicopters. We need more ships to police our waterways and all of that. We also need to strengthen local production. What I would expect him to do now, send more Nigerians out to gather the training, gather the knowledge, come back in and domesticate it. By now, Nigeria should be producing warship. You understand? We have the capacity, we have people that can do it. We need to also improve the Ajaokuta steel mill and some other, of our natural resources that are embedded and all of these things. So a lot of concentration must go into domestic production and, of course, increasing our numbers.
Right.